A lot of people ask me how they can have a dream vacation without breaking the bank, or how they can travel the world like I did without spending a lot of money. Traveling can obviously be expensive, but it doesn't have to cost a fortune. So I'm gonna give you my favorite travel hacks that help me travel the world for really cheap. But before I begin, I should give you a little background on me. I've been a travel writer for more than 15 years. I've written for everyone from Conde Nast Traveler to Travel and Leisure, American Way, Rob Report, Vanity Fair, Photos, Travel Channel, the list goes on. There was a point where I was traveling 2 to 3 weeks out of the month for many years. I've traveled to 113 countries at this point. Not only did I have to use a lot of travel hacks myself to not spend a lot of money, but I also created many for my readers. So I know a lot about saving money when you travel. You may have also seen me on TV. I've been a host and travel expert on many programs on the Travel Channel, Bravo. I've appeared on morning and evening news shows talking about travel on shows like Nightline. And I taught travel writing for a really long time. I also run Travelbinger.com. That's my website that has tons of travel content and advice and inspiration, travel tips, you name it. So it'd be great for you to visit. There's a link somewhere. This is my first YouTube video. I'm very excited. I'm gonna do a lot of these. So if you can subscribe, that would be amazing. So on to my tips. See, I printed out a ton of notes. It's a lot of tips, but I'm not gonna give you all of them now. I'm just gonna give you my favorite ones, the ones that I think are the most important and the ones that I think you'll find very useful. My first tip is fairly obvious, but I feel like a lot of my friends don't even apply this, but it's as simple as having flexible travel dates. I want you to get the idea of supply and demand in your head. More people are traveling on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to Sunday or Monday. If you avoid those dates, the dates when the rest of the world is traveling, you're gonna yield cheaper fares, cheaper hotel rooms. Your trip is just gonna be a lot cheaper. This obviously applies to hotels. If you're checking in on a Sunday when everyone else is checking out, the rates are gonna be very cheap. Just avoid peak times. This also applies to flights. If you take that flight at 6 or 7 in the morning, it's obviously going to be cheaper than the one at 11 or 12. My second tip is to use all your frequent flyer miles now. There is no sense in hoarding miles. There's no sense in stockpiling miles. Miles lose value every day. They don't increase in value. Also, you never know when airlines are going to jack up the number of miles it takes to get from point A to point B to a destination. I used to hoard miles. It was such a bad idea. I had so many miles. There's some sort of comfort in having all these miles in your account, sort of like having cash in the bank. But at the end of the day, it does nothing for you. Just use them all now. Another tip you may have not heard of, book new hotels and new flight routes when you can. The reason for this is when a hotel opens, it needs bodies in those rooms. So they're gonna offer introductory rates. They always offer introductory rates. These rates can go up to 60, 70% off a hotel night. Even here in New York City, I've seen hotels go as low as $150 a night. That's crazy because it's so expensive. I recently wrote a story where I covered a new hotel opening in Jamaica, and the introductory rates were $85 a night. And this is a beautiful hotel right on the beach. After the introductory rates, the rates went up to like $250, $300, like the standard. It's the same thing with new routes than airline offers. They're gonna be very cheap because they need people to fill those seats on the plane. I have a lot of like little tips. I feel like you would know these, but I'm just gonna say them because they will save you money. One of them is to get flight alerts when fares drop. You can do this with Google Flights or whatever. There's a lot of different websites that offer that. Another tip I had is to check into a hostel, and I know that sounds really weird and crunchy, but honestly, like, hostels have changed a lot. They're a lot more progressive. They have farm-to-table restaurants, they have bars, nightlife, and hostels are offering more private rooms. I checked into a hostel once in Paris. It was Generator Paris. It was like a boutique hotel. It was pretty amazing. And my room, I had a private room. It had a balcony with a view, and it also had a hammock outside. I mean, it was really cool. And it was, I think, like 80 bucks a night. It was crazy. My next tip is very exciting for me because I'm known in the travel industry as staying at more hotels than anyone else on this planet. Again, I've been doing this for a really long time, averaging 5 to 6 hotels a month for many years. This tip is to take advantage of all your hotel's free stuff. A lot of people don't know there's so many free things offered that can save you tons of money. One of the first things that I do when I check into a hotel is I go straight to the gym, not to work out, that comes later, but I grab a bottle of water, as opposed to the $5 to $10 bottle of water in your room. Also, there's a lot of hotel chains that offer free happy hour, free tea and coffee. If you sign up for a hotel's loyalty program, I can't even say that, you often get free Wi-Fi that way. My next tip is something not a lot of people know about. And no one ever really does, but it works and I'm living proof. If you want to get good rates at hotels, call up the hotel, ask to speak to the front desk manager or the reservations manager, and just tell them like, hey, can you give me a better rate than what's offered online? These people actually have the power to do this. So for example, let's say you're going to, I don't know, Chicago, and there's a hotel you want to stay at. Call up the reservations manager or the front desk manager and say, hey, this is my first trip to Chicago and I was looking online. I saw that your hotel was the best reviewed and I so want to stay there. However, my budget is $200 a night. Is there any way that you can match that? And let's say this hotel is like $300 a night. They'll do whatever they can to get you to stay at that hotel because they need to fill rooms. Obviously, this doesn't apply to like if they're at full occupancy, but they can come down to $250, $240. If you're really nice on the phone, they might like throw in free breakfast. It happens all the time. I've done this to 2 hotels in Miami. I've always gotten a better rate. Again, 50-50 shot here, but you can end up saving a lot of money. It's best if you do it when you're celebrating something like an anniversary or a birthday. My next tip is to get an airline's credit card. That's always a great idea because airlines always offer bonus miles when you sign up. You might not want to get a credit card or use it, but this is just for those who are seriously looking to save money. Not only do you get the bonus miles, which can be anywhere from 60,000 to 100,000 miles just for signing up and using the card for the first 3 months, but the card will give you other perks like waived baggage fees. 60,000 miles is a free round trip ticket to Europe. So that's saving you up to $1,000 right there if you get this credit card. Use it for the first 3 months on all the essentials that you already have to pay for. My next tip is go off the beaten path because that's going to be a lot cheaper than going to places that are crowded and really touristy. You can save hundreds, even thousands of dollars if you go off the beaten path. A good example is Miami. It's very expensive. Restaurants are expensive. Hotels are expensive. But if you still want a Florida vacation with beautiful beaches, go to Tampa. Just outside of Tampa, there's Clearwater Beach, there's St. Petersburg. In my opinion, these beaches are so much more beautiful than the beaches in Miami. Another good example is Puerto Vallarta. I love Puerto Vallarta and I go as much as I can. But if you were to go up north to like Sayulita or San Blas or any of those small beach towns, like obviously the hotels are going to be a lot cheaper. They're going to be a lot more intimate. You still have beautiful beaches. You have authentic Mexican food. My next tip is mostly for millennials because I don't think they know these people exist, but there are travel agents who can plan your entire trip for you. Travel agents were big in the 70s and the 80s and 90s, but then the internet came along. Because of the internet, people could start booking their own trips and researching flights and whatnot. So it really hurt the travel agency industry. Travel agents are now called travel advisors, but people still, if you're old school like me, you still call them travel agents. Here's the biggest thing about travel agents is that it doesn't cost you anything. Travel agents are free. I think people think that they take a percentage from you or something weird like that, but it's not true. Like, travel advisors get commission from the suppliers. So the hotels that they work with, the restaurants they work with, the airlines they work with, the tour operators, they get a percentage of anyone they book with these companies. That's how they make their money. They also get crazy rock bottom prices for flights, hotels, whatever. They can save you hundreds, even thousands of dollars. My last tip is something you may have not heard of. It's something that we refer to as dead week in the travel industry. And dead week is actually 2 weeks. It's not just 1 week. It's the day after New Year's Day up until Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. The reason why it's called Dead Week is because these 2 weeks are so dead. Nobody's traveling over Dead Week. And if you think about this, everyone's already burnt out from traveling over Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's Day. Everyone's back to work. Kids are back in school. And so everywhere is going to be really cheap to go to. Flights are going to be cheap. Hotels are going to be cheap. You can get insane travel packages for really cheap. These 2 weeks, you're just going to find really good sales. So those are my favorite travel hacks to save money when you travel the world. I hope that they were useful to you. I use them all the time when I travel. You'll save hundreds of dollars, even thousands of dollars if you apply these travel hacks to your next trip or just whenever you're on the road. Like I said, this is my first YouTube video. I hope you loved it. I'd love to hear your questions or comments below. If you can subscribe, that'd be great. I'll be doing many more videos like this. I think my next one is going to be how you can realistically get upgraded to first class on your next flight. Yeah, I'm gonna bring you tons of great content that you can apply for your next trip and just when you travel in general. Great. Okay, I will see you next time. Ow, ow. So have a great day.